Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and we are proud to be continuing to care for this land. But we know that tens of thousands of years of knowledge and of occupation, of caring for the land, has been, the wisdom has been lost from those years, and we know that we need to listen and to learn. We are committed to understanding, to getting to know, to building connection with the Aboriginal people of these lands. I am delighted that you've come to St George's for this conversation. We started this conversation among ourselves in-house some time ago and realised that it was just a little bit too big for us. So it's a delight to have all of you here to join with us. We have refugees staying on site, and it's very personal to us. You know, when the fireworks go off, I'm used to my dog crawling under the couch. But for them, it's symbolic of something much more immediate. Hannah's mum just moved from their bombed out town into a place that's more safe. Hannah was outraged the other day that her rosemary bush was stolen from their front yard of their bombed house because it just added insult to injury. These things are very personal from people who are just like us. They carry the same values. They love each other. It's a delight to have them in our home. But they really want to be in their own home. So I am excited that you're here. Thank you for joining with us. If you need to use the bathroom, you go out the church, turn left, and go to the back of the courtyard. You have to duck under some leaves, but it's a door that's open in the middle. If you find yourself in the kitchen, it's the wrong one. If there's a fire, leave. I think that's the only other thing that you need to know. Thank you. And if you would introduce later.
Hello everybody, my name's Emma Payne and I am one of the 12 volunteers that work in the Legal Constituent Liaison team. Just to let you know about today, Allegra will kick the event off. Then we have Community Refugee Sponsorship Australia here to talk about the CRISP program. Then there'll be time for Q&A, and then I will follow up in about next steps. So I will hand over to Allegra.
Well, the last time I was standing about here was actually a debate during the election, so I'm really, really pleased to be standing here again under very different circumstances. So firstly, I also wanted to acknowledge the land on which we're meeting today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to Elders past, present and emerging, and to acknowledge that last week in Parliament was a very special day on Thursday when when the bill for the referendum was introduced into Parliament. It is going to be a momentous moment this year when we vote on this, and I know many of you, are working or are still working their minds out about this, and this is something we will be advocating and trying to share and build understanding across the community so we can take this step forward as a country. Thank you so much to the Reverend John Stanley and St George's for hosting, and also for the CRISP team and Colin Blaze. I could not be happier to be here today. And I'm just delighted with how much excitement there is and interest in this community about this CRISP program. A lot of people have written to me and spoken to me about their concern for refugees in this community. And for me, it's an issue that is very close to my heart. My mum, like many people who live in this area, came out from war-torn Italy. And she came with her, she was brought here by her parents because they were seeking a better life. And that is really the fundamental part of some of what is best about this country is we can actually provide that better life to people, and for people who are facing the most horrific circumstances. But we, because of the wonderful nature of our democracy, the strength of our multicultural relationships, we can bring that better life to people when they come to Australia. And I think the community has an absolutely integral role to play in doing that well. And I think that's where the CRISP the CRISP program all comes about. I wanted to pay tribute particularly to Heather and also to Sabina in my team. Heather does many other things beyond just working for me, and has been an absolute tireless advocate for refugees, and constantly is doing work to support that, and also really listening to the concerns of the community, and has been driving us of this presence here today. And so myself and my team, we speak regularly to lots of refugees around Australia to understand what are the most important issues facing them. So before we get to the CRIS program in particular, I just want to highlight some of the things that people have raised with me. Firstly is access to TPV and SHEVs, because we've had 30,000 people in this country who have been left in limbo because of temporary protection visas. I am so proud that the government, after the strong advocacy of the community and from myself and others on the crossbench, has taken action so that there is a pathway to permanency for those people who are able to meet the criteria. There is deep concern about those people left on PNG and Nauru, and this is something that I will continue to be advocating and continue to meet the Minister on. There's working rights for all people seeking asylum, so that they can ensure that they can actually be prosperous and really contribute to the country. Because that's my experience of all the refugees that I have met. They want to make that contribution. They want to bring their special talents and I think their gratefulness to be in Australia and to contribute to the broader Australian society. We're also working on ensuring Ukrainian refugees get the support they need, and also efforts to support indefinite and arbitrary detention, including a royal commission into this. So these are the things that I am advocating for, because these are the issues that both the experts and the community have raised with me in relation to refugees. But I think the special moment that we are here today to talk about is about the CRIS program. And in Parliament you see many independents in particular, but also people across the Parliament who want to see action on refugees, and particularly want us to see us increase our refugee intake and to share, I think, the wonderful country we are with many others. And the CRIS program is a wonderful opportunity to do this, because the CRIS is a way for communities to get involved, to show the government that there is deep community support for refugees, and show that it can work in places like Australia, as it has in Canada, where it has settled now over 300,000 people in Canada. So this program has been monumental in Canada, and we have an opportunity to do this here. And I've spoken directly to the Minister about this, and there is commitment, I think, from the government to make this on top of our other refugee intake, which means that we can bring more people into this country. And what I think is particularly special about the CRIS program is actually its community connection. Because I know that it's not just about the government solving problems. I think the community can solve problems in a unique way that the government program can't. I know that in a place like Wentworth, the connections, the passion people have, the warm-heartedness that people have can do so much in making people feel part of the community, connected to the job opportunities or study opportunities that they need to. Just meeting people whose kids are going to the same school. It's just those things that it makes you feel rather as an outsider of a community, an absolute insider of a community, and really thrive. And I think this is what the CRIS program can do. It's about community members standing up and saying, we support refugees, and we're willing to put our time and our effort and what we can bring in our community ahead for that and make that individual difference, as well as advocating at the national level. And I love that community piece. I'm a community independent. I'm driven by what's important by the community, from the community. And I think for me, this is a perfect opportunity to turn that community sentiment into real advocacy, into real action, and into real support for people in this area. And this is a particularly special community in Wentworth. We have so many skills, so much opportunity, connection to the world of work. I think we can make a really unique difference to really catapult, I think, refugees' lives into a really positive, making a really positive contribution to Australia. So I'd like now to hand over to Nicole Watkins, who's the Community Development Manager, and Blaise Tabello. Have I pronounced that? Okay. Who's the Community Engagement Manager at Community Refugee Sponsorship Australia. And they're partnering with the government on running the CRIS program, and they're really going to be the people to tell you how this all works, and I think what are the roles that you can play. But just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out on a Monday afternoon to say, we want to welcome refugees into this community. This is more than just saying government solve it for us, that we saying, we can solve it too, and we can make our lives richer, because, when you give, you always get back. You can make our lives richer, but you can also make the lives of people who are seeking a better life here in Australia and who deserve that opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Nicole and Allegra, for having us here. I'm a Logan boy. For some of you are familiar with Southeast Queensland, so I come from Logan. And I'm not a Logan, but it's a great honor and a great pleasure to be here today. To you, Allegra, again, thank you for your passion, but also your interest in the whole refugee topic and the refugee crisis. Heather, you've been a champion, and thank you. All the background work that has gone into making today possible. I want to thank you all for sharing your Monday afternoon with us. Sydney, we always say Sydney is a busy city, and when people are taking a pause to come and listen to a topic like this, I want to thank you, because majority are choosing to look away and not taking time to hear and think about what can I do. Quickly, I will introduce myself and my colleagues that are here, and Nicole will be speaking, so I won't talk much about Nicole. She will tell you about herself. So I'm Blaise Itabello, and I'm here with my colleague Nicole, who's here, and Salvi at the back, who's taking some photos. But we're also joined by an amazing board member of ours, who's been a great champion, Cindy, who's sitting at the back. And we hope today all the hard questions, send them to Cindy, all the easy ones to Nicole and I. Let's start this. There is a quick video we put together, and this video sort of tells you exactly what community sponsorship looks like in a perfect world and in practice. If you forget about everything else that Nicole and I will be sharing this afternoon, just remember what this video said. So please join me, and if you've actually watched this video before, like me, I hope you can enjoy it again. I've watched it hundreds of times and I still love watching it. So, all right, let's do this very quickly. I've introduced myself, so very quickly, just to give you an idea how we tend to present this information. So we share with you a bit about our organization, the program, the CRISP program, but also we'll have a Q&A opportunity. But today we're actually blessed that we're not only just us as our staff members of CRISP, but we're joined by two amazing individuals here, Anna and Bobby, who are actually part of some of the few groups that we've got in Sydney. They're already supporting some of our first early arrivals in the program. So Anna and Bobby are here with us, and they'll be able to share with us the experiences welcoming someone at the airport and supporting them for the last few months in the program. So again, some practical questions in terms of how the program works. Anna may know more than we do, because she's actually doing it every single day. A little bit again, if I can do a quick disclaimer here. Now, we will explain the program, but perhaps you've come here today with, you're in a situation like mine where some of your family members or friends are refugees and you're looking for a way of bringing them over to Australia. Unfortunately, this program does not answer that particular gap yet. The program is, we tend to refer to it as a sponsored stranger program, so you cannot nominate someone you know as part of the CRISP program. So we do apologize in advance if anyone in this group today wanted to get that information. If it's your first time coming in contact with us, or you don't know who we are as an organization, we are a national independent charity. We are not a settlement agency. Our role is really going out in the community, encouraging the community to join the global sponsorship movement, and really seeing Australia also starting implementing the community sponsorship program for refugees. We are very grateful and honored that we are partnering with the Department of Home Affairs at the moment as we speak to deliver this new program called Community Refugee Integration and Settlement Pilot. The name of the organization, it's quite long, so you can call us CRISA, as I tend to do. Others will call us CRSA, or I think you can still give us the nickname of the sponsorship organization. We'll take that, the Refugee Sponsorship Organization. We are part of a global movement of organizations that works in different countries to encourage citizens to get involved in sponsoring refugees. And we're part of this movement. In Australia, we still continue with advocacy. Our aim and plan is to see that this program can actually branch into different pathways. Folks in my shoes can nominate their cousins and brothers overseas, and Australians can sponsor other strangers they've met, and giving them an opportunity to resettle in Australia. I'll take you through a little bit of a background in all of this. We are where we are now. It's because of some work that has been done in the past. And from 2017 to now, and probably moving forward again, Chris and other organizations across the country joined the force to advocate for Australia to also have a sponsorship program in Australia. Organizations, members of the communities, joined the forces, and the advocacy paid off that in December 2021, the Australian government made a commitment to start a sponsorship program in Australia. And in May last year, we officially launched this program. I think for many that were involved in the advocacy work, this was halfway to the reality, because for many years people have been advocating for a similar program to start in Australia, and we never thought it will happen. We all joined the journey, and in May we officially launched the program. But one of the most exciting days was actually in August, when we received the first person that arrived in this program. I was at the airport, and if you've ever gone to pick up a relative who's been living overseas for a while, the excitement that that takes you. And I watched the group picking up their arrival, and it simply looked like it was two people that knew each other, and they're just meeting after 5 years of separation. The happiness, the relief. We talked to you about the program because as part of the program, actually groups can communicate with the refugees before they arrive in Australia. So by the time they were arriving, they knew we're going to Australia. We'll be picked up by Blaze and Nicole and a few of their friends. So it was just amazing to sit there and watch. And if you looked at the video, one of the words that I like repeating quite a lot is, now we find the group, now we have a family, because that's what a lot of people don't get when they're coming here. And we'll talk about that very quickly soon. The program is a pilot program, and it will end in 2025, and the aim is to save 1,500 refugees. As part of the 1,500 refugees, we are very pleased to announce that as part of the first year, 100 refugees that were meant to arrive are already in Australia as we speak. And Anna and a few groups that they're working together, they're actually supporting some of those 100 first arrivals. These are people that have gone pretty much everywhere in Australia, including areas that have never traditionally settled a refugee. And that's because the program is run by volunteers, and refugees can come where you are and where you live and be part of your community. We are getting at the moment strong indications from the Labor government that they intend to make this program becoming an addition to our humanitarian intake, but also making the number from 1,500 that we got for 4 years, 5,000 annually, which is one of the reasons why we need more groups to get involved in now, so we can show them that the community is ready and they're the one holding the ball. It is part of their policy platform, and the minister has repetitively indicated their interest in doing this. We just don't know when this will happen, and we keep hoping that an announcement can be made anytime soon, because we feel like we are ready for it. I'm usually reminded that I talk a lot, so I try to go a little bit fast. Why do we do what we do, and why community sponsorship is such an important program given the current crisis that we have? I thought we should put together a couple of our statistics here for us to go through. There is an estimate of 100 million people that are forcibly displaced. And I would like to acknowledge that these numbers do not reflect the current event that we've seen around the world, including the earthquakes in some part of the world recently. These numbers are growing every single day, and I believe it's actually more than this. We have at least over 21 million people that are today, I call them the lucky ones, the few lucky ones. There's a reason why. I call them lucky because not everybody actually get a chance to leave their place, to leave their hometown. For many, the journey ends, in their hometown when they don't make it through to the other end. So you're lucky when you are able to cross the border and being called refugees. We have at least 2 million people that unfortunately urgently need resettlement. These are people that have managed to cross the border in different corners of the world, can no longer stay where they are, and they cannot go back where they come from, and so they need another place to go to. Unfortunately, the world is able to provide settlement for only 100,000 people. You can see how the numbers are going down. Out of 2 million that urgently need help every year, there's only 100,000 that are getting that chance to be resettled somewhere. In Australia, we do take our bit, and I think Allegra and I will agree that we can do more, and I believe we can do more. And this program is one of the ways that we think could be able to do that. I want us to reflect a bit. If some of you have the habit of watching news at 6 p.m., you will agree with me that often there is nothing exciting that is happening on the news. We get bad news, sad events that are happening around the world, and perhaps the question in each one's mind is, what can I do? Because often we feel hopeless and helpless, that you can't do anything. There is no tangible actions that you can take in making a difference. When we're talking about 21 million people that are refugees today, I was born in Congo, one of the well-known country in terms of natural resources. Today, Congo is actually one of the top 10 producers of refugees. It should be the other way around. We should be a country that is welcoming others, that is supporting refugees. But today, we make top 10 of refugees around the world. Today, what we're talking about in terms of refugee sponsorship program is not about your ability to end the war in Congo. It's about a way that you can provide a Congolese refugee that settles in our community a fresh start. For many people, coming to Australia actually brings mixed feelings. That you're excited for the first time you've got peace. I'm here from Logan. I'm not worried about my family in Queensland because I know they're safe. I know there is nobody that will harm them. However, having done that and having feel like now I'm safe, I have left behind everything I know and everyone I know. And so the safety alone was never enough. Being able to work and get money and live a normal life after spending 16 years in a refugee camp, my experience was different. And sadly now, this is almost similar to a lot of refugees that are settling in this country, that they leave everything behind, they leave everyone behind, and they have to start from the scratch. And for some, if they come from a refugee camp, where I was from, they start learning, including how to flush the toilet, because they've never had one. And so it can be a lot for a lot of people that are coming in this country. And that's why we believe a program like this can take some of those pressure away. As Allegra said, community sponsorship program started in Canada. And we've got a little bit of a history in Australia. I think community sponsorship with Vietnamese refugees. Some of you may remember this. And it's been quite successful for over 40 years. Over 300,000 people have been resettled there. We believe the success of that program can help us in at least 3 areas, key areas. And number one is really giving Australians an opportunity as well to respond directly to the refugee crisis. Not only that Australia will sit back and go like, oh my God, I'm sick about this, I don't know what to do about it. Now we have a practical way of getting involved and responding directly through a community sponsorship program. We also believe that integration of refugees and their settlement will be quite smooth and easy, just because as soon as they arrive at the airport, they've got a local. In my network of people that I know, we tend to know one another from the same cultural background. The only network you will get outside of that is a network you make if you actually attend your faith-based, so at church, at mosque, or at a workplace. And other than that, most folks are just within their community because it's never easy to make friends, and we all know that. Most of our friends are friends that we've known through our clubs and church and other similar settings. We also believe through a community sponsorship program, we will have an informed, a cohesive and empathetic community. Polls in Canada suggest that 1 in 3 Canadians have either directly sponsored refugees or know someone who has done it. And I think if we can reflect a bit in terms of our refugee policies, Australia and Canada, you can see the shift. You can see the difference. Canada taking 20,000 Syrians was never a big deal. Trudeau being at the airport welcoming them in 2016 was never a big deal. Canada using the government planes to take refugees into Canada was never a big deal because the community is informed. The community understands. At least many people have actually that one-on-one experience. Imagine if that was Australia by that time. Today, this is what we're presenting to you, an opportunity to be informed, to be involved in changing the narratives of refugees, an opportunity for us as a country to show what we always do, what we do best. We're known for our generosity, and I believe today in this room we can be able to do that. Before Nicole start looking at me, I will call on the stage to tell us about what everybody does in this program. So I tend to do the fun one, and Nicole will take me into the details. So, yeah, to Nicole.
So now I'm going to talk to you about the program specifics. So bear with me. I hope I can keep it interesting. So who does what? I guess the key to all of this is there's a few different players that we've got in the program. At the top level there, you can see the federal government. So federal government, they fund CRESA to implement this program. They also receive the referrals from UNHCR. And they'll be making the referrals into the program. And they're also responsible for the program evaluation, which is being run by the University of Queensland. Along the bottom you can see CRESA. So what we're funded to do by the Department of Home Affairs or the federal government is to mobilise groups, get out there, speak to everybody, get everybody involved. We screen, we train and we support all of the groups coming through the program, and we work to empower you to really deliver the support that we know that you all have in you to really make that settlement and integration process for refugees a meaningful one. We're also responsible for matching and monitoring, so we play the role of looking at the refugee households that are being referred into the program, the applications coming for groups, and really working in a nuanced way to find a great match. We look at a lot of different things in relation to what the group's skills and knowledge and experiences are, and also we speak with the refugee households before matching so that we can get a sense of who they are, where they're from, what their careers have been, what their passions are and aspirations for Australia, and we use all of that to try and make a really lovely match for everybody. And the last thing we do is receive those referrals from the government via UNHCR. Local supporter groups. So if you choose to join us, the role of the supporter group is to plan. So there's an application process which includes a settlement plan. So we ask you to outline exactly how it is you'll be able to support a household coming into your community. We ask you to do a little bit of fundraising, and that is the fundraising element is really dependent on probably the size of household that you'll be matched with, but also there's a few different things that you might need to take into consideration around what you'll need funds for. So short-term accommodation, a little bit of income support at the beginning, and then helping that household set up their house post-arrival. You'll help that refugee household find long-term housing. You meet them at the airport, which is probably one of the greatest moments for many groups involved in the program. You'll help the household with some of the initial paperwork, so some of that life admin that we all love to do, which includes registering with Centrelink and Medicare and things like that. Helping with driving lessons, long-term goals around employment, what that might look like, and also education pathways, which includes English language classes, enrolling kids in school, and looking at what university opportunities might exist for some of those household members. The refugee newcomers in the program, it's about their role is about communicating their needs, their aspirations and the challenges that they're facing with the group members, and to actively engage in the process around how they can set their goals and work with the group around how to achieve them. So that's the program in a nutshell. The core principles of this whole endeavour is that it's a group. There's a group of you involved in this. It's not one person carrying the load. You're trusted, self-directed groups of people that can come to CRISA for support if and when you need it. We encourage you to be innovative in your problem solving and looking at different ways of approaching issues that might arise. As I said, you'll be well supported by the CRISA teams throughout the process. We encourage refugee agency and autonomy, so a lot of the support that we provide groups is about how to have these active conversations about how you can further encourage agency and build independence in that household that you're supporting. We look at the program as a holistic support, so it's not looking at just the family as a family unit, but it's looking at each individual in that household and what their needs and aspirations are, and then taking it as a whole of household approach as well. And the last one is just equity, respect and safety for everyone. So that's all the group members, it's household members, and any CRISA staff that you're in touch with. So it's really, this is an opportunity to really not only come together as a group of people, but it's about how you can bring your community along with you as well in bringing along those networks and people you know so that they can support you in this work as well. So what do you need to do to get involved? We ask that groups have 5 or more adults. The Canadians kind of set it up as minimum 5. And from what we've recognised in the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years is 5 is a good number. A few extras can be a really great help as well. So 5 to 8 people, but minimum 5. We ask a group coordinator to nominate from that group of people and also a deputy. So there's a couple of things around the group coordinator role and it's really just being that conduit for communications between CRISA and the rest of your group so that everyone stays on the same page. Fundraising element, so minimum amount we suggest is about $5,000, factoring in things around what you can source donated or in kind, but having a think about what kind of cash you might require to get things started. Every group member needs to pass a national criminal history check and a working with children check. And all the details on how to apply for those are in our application guidebook. We have a training package that we ask everyone to complete. There's some independent online learning. One of them is a child safeguarding course that's mandatory, and there's also a online module on roles and responsibilities. So what it is that you're committing to undertake in the program. And then we have an online workshop that we encourage, we ask everybody to come to, and that's more about the soft skills. How are you going to work together as a group? What are you going to do to communicate? How are you going to manage your expectations and assumptions? And we talk a little bit about refugee experience as well in that training. Collectively, we suggest it's probably a 10 to 15 hours per week, taking into consideration the waves of support. So the first couple of months will likely be busy, and it might be more hours than that per week, but then as things settle and the dust settles, that might drop off a little bit, but our group members here might have some more insight into that shortly. And we ask that you commit to providing 12 months of wraparound support to the household. They're sort of like the key steps. I'm just going to hand back over to Blaze for 2 minutes to share some insights into other ways of getting involved.
And I was told it's only 2 minutes, so we kept it to 2 minutes. Basically, what we're saying is there are other ways you can get involved. You may, if you're part of an organization, a business, and you time poor, for example, or you can't directly sponsor someone, we believe your organization, your business, your church, your mosque can play a role in this. We've got a program that we're calling Supporting Community Organizations. So these are organizations that are joining us to play a slightly different role, and the role could simply be assisting us with promotion of this program in your community, working with volunteers or groups and supporting them to establish. You can help us with mobilization. Your business can decide to do what Nicole and I are doing today. So we'll work with you, train 1 or 2 individuals in your organization, and so local events like this, you can be able to do that outside of us. And so that is what we're saying, everybody can do something. And if anybody here as well is interested in that program, supporting community organizations, please get in touch with us. And I think this brings us to the last slide, which is really what you need to do next. So the first part is obviously listening to the information. We ask you to go out there and talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, and perhaps we can do this exercise here because we've got a big room. If some people, let's say you may know each other already, there could be people that have already been having this conversation to start. And so this will be a perfect opportunity for you to catch up on one side of the room and just try to understand where each one lives and maybe form a group. If you feel like, oh my God, I've been wanting an opportunity like this, it's your first time you've heard it, you're looking for other people in a similar situation, we can go in the right corner at the end of this and talk to other people that are passionate and want to get involved, form a group. We've seen groups forming in different ways in Australia. We've got groups that have been formed through neighbors, the same workplace, same faith group, friends. People are posting on Facebook saying, I want to be involved in this, anyone else in our community. And you'll be surprised, the level of support you get up there. So form a group. There is an intention to apply on our website. Jump there, you will see that clearly indicated, fill that in, and after that we will send you some more instructions on what to do. What we tend to do after an information session like this, and I'll let Heather talk about this, is we send a follow-up email which sort of summarizes everything we shared with you. The link to this video that we shared with you will be there, an intention to apply. So again, you've got more information handy to help you with decision making. And if you forget everything that we spoke about today, just remember my balded head and my email address there. Please take a photo of that, flick me an email. But I've always said, I think this is more than 2 minutes. If you know any other group, that may be interested in this information that we're sharing with you today, please don't be a stranger, connect us. We believe there are more people out there that are interested or may be interested, but they still don't know about this opportunity. It could be your church, it could be your workplace, it could be anything. This program is open to everyone around the country, as long as they're fit and they can pass the background checks and everything. So yeah, I think that's it from us. I think maybe before we get the questions, I'm not sure if, because Anna would love to answer more questions and Bobby than just talking. Maybe we can give Anna an opportunity to say something, then happy for us to get questions, all of us. Yeah.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to let you know that we actually had a group of quite a few of us that started a number of years ago, back in 2013. Bobby started a group with me, and we originally went into the little detention centre. So we had already amassed quite a big community of people in the eastern suburbs and northern suburbs. Anyone who heard about us that wanted to come in and visit refugees in detention centres used to come in with us. And we went as a big community group. So that went on for a number of years until COVID hit. And we had quite a lot of people that we worked with over those years. After COVID hit, they stopped any visits into the detention centre, and then what happened is Bobby then started doing some food drops into Western Sydney. So in detention centre, we're seeing mostly refugees who came by boat, and then when we started the food drops, we ended up seeing a lot of the medevac refugees from Madison Nauru who were in the western suburbs, so we used to deliver food out there. And then that also got stopped because COVID got worse, and then they stopped people moving around, so that came to a standstill. And so we had quite a few people that we knew that loved the work, really we loved working with each other, and we thought, what can we do next? And we had come across CRISP before was the RSA, and we knew about them, and in fact we'd already had one small group doing the mentorship program, which we haven't spoken about today, but that's because it's been phased out. But they were starting to do the sponsorship before COVID, but because of COVID again, they couldn't bring anyone in. So they did a mentorship and linked people in Sydney with these groups. So we already knew from those people that this was a successful program and we liked the sound of it. So we started to ask questions and get involved, and then we formed another 4 groups. So we've actually got 17 refugees, and ours are all from Afghanistan, just coincidentally. And we ended up moving getting accommodation in Marylands, and we chose that area because we knew it very well ourselves, because we used to have quite a few Afghan refugees that we were already supporting. So we chose to settle our families out in Marylands. So it is a lot of driving for us, but we find that there's very good support systems out there. All their English classes are out there. So for us and for them, it has worked well. But it has been quite personally, I love the program. The support that CRISP give us and everyone is quite incredible. There is nothing that they can't help us with. The support it's amazing, actually. And I think that is the strongest element of the program, is that, well, apart from the fact that you get a lot of joy from helping and supporting people, but the level of support that you get is quite amazing. The other thing that they did mention too is, even if you are interested in supporting a group, but you don't know anyone who wants to do it, they are also able to link you up with other people and groups as well. So you don't have to just come forward as a group, you can come forward as an individual. They've got Facebook pages and all sorts of community programs. They've got information centres, you can zoom in on information days and things like that. Happens every month. There's quite a lot of support that you can get, and there's a lot of learning. I think the other thing I'd like to say is that the other thing that I think is very valuable in the whole program is the links that you have with each other as community members. So we've got Joel, who's here. He's a community group coordinator as well, and Howard. And they've got their own groups, and we all liaise with each other to support each other as well. But I think the links that are formed between all of us and with our various other group members, we sort of chose to have 7 or 8 people in our groups because a lot of our people travel. So we just wanted to have a bit of extra support so that people could go away and not feel guilty, or not put strain on others. So anyway, that's my story. So if you've got any questions, please.